Well, guys, we've been through a lot of the church planning journey so far, but in stage 9, we're going to start to think about structure, organization, order, and polity for your new church. Now, one of my friends who's a pastor, he really cares about polity and structure and order, and he said to me one time, he said, polity or order really matters when the crap hits the fan in your church. And I think about that a lot because there's something to appointing leaders and deciding what will happen in times of conflict or dissension or abandonment. There's things about that are just really, really challenging to think about, especially in peacetime. You know, when you're in peacetime and everything's going well in the church and there's a lot of encouragement and momentum, it seems like maybe it doesn't make sense to spend so much of our time thinking about this sort of structure. But when something does go wrong in the church, those structures can literally save the church. It can preserve the church through those difficulties. So in a lot of ways, what we're going to talk about in the next few thresholds in section 9 is going to be figuring out how to protect and preserve your church through order and polity. In a lot of ways, your statement of faith is the foundation of your new church. The people that make up your new church are going to gather around that statement of faith. It's the substance of their belief. It's the confession they're going to make to one another about God. And so it's really important that you adopt a statement of faith that is clear and concise and rightly depicts or reflects the doctrines and teachings of your congregation. And so I want to encourage you to do a lot of research and to find a statement of faith that fits just perfectly. Now, I really want to encourage you to stay away from trying to write these on your own. These statements of faith have been, in many cases, crafted by groups of theologians over periods of years and have stood the test of time against all sorts of heresy and attack. And so statements of faith that have endured or weathered those sorts of difficulties are much more reliable than probably what you have the resources to come up with on your own. So I want to encourage you to adopt a statement of faith. There are some great ones out there, creeds and statements of faith that you can begin to look at. There's the London Baptist Confession of 1644 that you could look to. There's some more modern ones like the Baptist Faith and Message 2000 that was written just a few years ago, and then more commonly known ones like the Nicene Creed or the Apostles' Creed. And so those sorts of statements about the doctrines of our church are the sorts of creeds and confessions that you're going to want to examine and look at when you're trying to decide on something for your own congregation. These creeds and confessions will protect you. They'll protect you from conflict inside the church, disagreements theologically. You can always point back when there's a disagreement to this document, and usually it will clarify what the church's foundational beliefs are, so it helps protect from internal conflict. It also sometimes helps when there's external conflict, when those in our society at large are attacking the doctrines of your church to say, no, this is what we've always believed, this is what our fathers believed, our forefathers believed, and we are holding to those same beliefs here in our church. And it will just protect you from all sorts of conflict and difficulties. And so it's a very important document to have and have solidified in your congregation, and making sure that every new member who comes into the church examines that and affirms that in the process of becoming a member of your new church. So like everything that you'll do in terms of producing documents, before you affirm this and bring it to your people, you need to run it by the leadership and the elders of your sending church. Make sure you're not doing this in a vacuum. You're not the only person making a decision like this, that you run that by wiser leaders.